Welcome back. Thank you to those who have made the time in your busy schedules to join us today. We are coming into the home stretch here. We have two more Sonar integration partner presentations up next, followed by an exciting keynote to wrap things up. Inevitably, as your business grows, so does the complexity, especially around compliance. Next, we'll hear about how Avalara is tackling one of the trickiest parts, telecom taxes. Welcome, Brad.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Rick. How
Absolutely.
are we doing today?
Very well. How about yourself?
I'm doing well as well.
Fantastic. Well, I will get out of the way and let you showcase all the great things that Avalara has been doing for Sonar customers for years. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you again for the time and for all of you joining. Quite the day I'm sure you've had already, and hopefully we can share a little insight on how Avalara and Sonar's partnership works here to help round out the compliance process. So with that said, I think Lindsay's going to help me kind of co-pilot here. I am Brad Schutte, one of our enterprise sales managers here with our communications side of the house of Avalara. I've been here about 10 years plus now, so hopefully I have a good working knowledge and can kind of help out with ensuring that we've got everything there for any compliance questions, needs, anything you have along those lines there. So with that said, Lindsay, if you can kind of scroll forward on a slide here for me. I'm seeing that opening slide there and one more maybe, or can you see everything there still?
It looks the same, but I think it's legible.
Okay. All right, we'll roll with this, and hopefully you'll get the gist of it. We can obviously share things later on there if we need to. But as we kind of walk through this, here's a quick disclaimer here. I hope you find this information useful and practical, anecdotally, but we can't be your legal advisors or your tax advisors out there. We're just not corporately structured to do that. So within Avalara, that's kind of the disclaimer we have to say. And then along with those lines is a safe harbor statement here. So there's things subject to change within this document and these slides that I'll go through here. But the gist of it is things change, tax changes, everything changes. So we don't want this getting disseminated or anything out there and used as a ongoing type of materials there if anything changes. So that's kind of our safe harbor there. The real crux of the matter and why we're talking today is why automate tax compliance? Why Sonar and Avalara? Well, at a very high level, tax compliance is what keeps a lot of people awake at night. And if it doesn't keep you awake, it potentially could be a problem down the road if you're not handling things correctly. So what we do at Avalara is make sure that we automate and actually round out that compliance process as best we can for customers. With the Sonar backbone there, the partnership we have with Sonar, it's incredibly beneficial to customers to be able to kind of say, we just want to be out of this loop. We don't want to get the knock at the door at the end of the month from an auditor asking what happened along the way. So that's kind of the incorporation that we've partnered with Sonar now for a handful of years. It's a tremendous platform, and it really kind of rounds out that entire billing taxation ecosystem. And we'll step through what that looks like here within some of these slides. Real quick background, operational since 2004 has been our flagship Avatax sales tax product. It's one of those that branches and globally it's all over out there. Our Super Bowl is typically Cyber Week, Black Friday. We see a ton of transactions processed through looking for taxes, obviously within that window. Avalara for communications itself, the group that I'm with, was incepted in 1997, and Avalara went ahead and acquired us in 2015 for our communications expertise, technology, our engine, the content, everything that goes along those lines. Sales tax is complex, and communications taxes can get even more so. So that's why our engine remains autonomous. It's a separate integration. It's a separate engine than the sales tax side of Avalara, and it's actually been in existence for a little bit longer than Avalara itself. We know, and you guys probably know sitting there, that tax compliance is unavoidable. It's out there. It's just when and where do you deal with it and how. There's all kinds of regulations that update and change, geographical boundaries that change throughout the course of a year or a month, even sometimes within a month. We keep those up to date. We know all those. Our in-house compliance team tracks all those updates and then pushes them out to our production software. so that you're ensured that you're getting that real-time aspect of taxation, including all the math that goes behind the scenes as you get into the comm space. We'll talk about a little bit more of that, especially coming from an MSP, ISP lens. Obviously, people are looking for money. Jurisdictions are looking for money. So if you're not above board or unknowingly, unwittingly, knowingly, whatever it might be, a lot of times they really don't care what the reason is for it. So our system is designed to make sure that we take that complexity out of it and give you that peace of mind that it's being handled compliantly. I mentioned it earlier, but there's so many taxing jurisdictions, especially in the U.S. It is one of the most complex taxing regimes in the world. You get outside EU, a lot of international countries have flat VAT rates, so it becomes a little bit easier to calculate taxes and work through those. But in the U.S. itself, 13,000 plus sales and use tax jurisdictions. You're starting to get into some more things as you deal in the VoIP space that you're going to encounter there with special taxing jurisdictions that require their own filings, different calculations, a lot more complexity to the tax world, if you will. So that's why it's inherently important for customers to focus on what they can do to generate revenue for their business and support their customers, as opposed to worrying about, are we in this new jurisdiction and what do we have to do when we're there? Another illustration here, over 11,000 changes just last year alone, and that's just rates. You talk about different types of complexities with tax on tax and different jurisdictions that crop up and kind of form their own filing jurisdiction that you have to account for. So that's where things can get pretty untenable and pretty unwieldy pretty quickly. You'll see that there's sales tax holidays. There's all kinds of stuff that kind of plays into what we kind of work through and make sure that we're automating for you. So to get down to Avalara for communications and kind of how it works in the Sonar environment, how we can help customers, it is a cloud-based platform. So, historically, dinosaur type systems, a lot more on-premise. The way the world has shifted in the real-time aspects to updates and making sure your customers get a good experience as they go through this. It's really important to be in the cloud and kind of pushing that information back and forth. We run on the backbone of AWS, so you're ensured to get that real-time aspect of taxation back in a highly accurate manner. The breadth and depth is obviously of the content is what drives a lot of it. It's great if you can show tax on an invoice, but if it's incorrect, it can oftentimes result in more issues than maybe not even having tax on there. You want to make sure it's right. You want to make sure your products and services are categorized correctly, because that ultimately drives all your taxation and all the filings downstream from that. We can also do those filings for you as well, as you'll see on the illustration here, the returns for communication side. So that information is calculated in our engine. We have our own in-house proprietary software that can take that information, pre-populate the required forms, then file and remit for you as well. So as you're talking about a comprehensive solution there, and if you're an auditor walking in saying, hey, show me what happened all the way through your compliance process, and you've got a single transparent comprehensive story to tell them and show them, the questions become a lot fewer, and potentially they're on to the next person that has 3 or 4 different vendors in there or manual processes and can't find this and that. That's when the spotlight comes out. And even if you are above board, it's just time, energy, money, effort, everything that goes into it that we can alleviate those types of scenarios for you. The last point on this slide I'll go through real quick, easy integration. The putt does not get any shorter in this complex space than when you have a partner like Sonar that's already done the backbone build. They've already technically tied into our engine. So I like to use the anecdote, the pipes are set and now we just wiggle wires as far as what your products and services look like for tax optimization. And we do that with you during the onboarding process. So that's kind of an overview there of what that looks like. We've done this now for, it says 20 years on here, 28 plus years we've done this. So you can see just some eye-popping numbers there of what we actually process and what we actually handle for our customers within the engine. So that's just a good illustration there. This is a big point, especially for MSPs out there that are kind of branching into this new world of communications taxes. You're starting to offer VoIP type services because it's a customer add-on. It's a value to that customer. Your competitors are doing it. There's a myriad of reasons out there where people kind of proliferate outside of just this MSP world and straight sales tax. So our AvaTax engine, you'll see on the left there, is exactly that. It is for sales tax only. Anything that deviates outside of there, you start to get into VoIP and you're dealing with E911 line charges and VoIP access. They start to generate multiple lines of taxation that come back. The only engine that can handle that within Avalara is Avalara for Communications. We can also handle, though, as a byproduct, those sales and use taxes within the communications engine. We can swim downstream and handle those. The sales tax engine cannot swim upstream and bolt on or configure, those comms taxes in there. So the key factor here for you Sonar customers is Avalara for Communications is the integration that Sonar has done, and it will handle you comprehensively on both the communications and sales tax side of the house. That becomes inherently important too when we're talking about filings, making sure that all those hit the right forms. Voice taxes do generate sales taxes as a byproduct, so you don't want to be negating these little sales taxes over here while you're filing out your other sales tax returns. The verticals and kind of nuances that fall within the communications world, we see a lot of streaming companies these days that really kind of picked up during COVID. There's a lot of collaboration platforms out there, hosting platforms, StreamYard. Maybe talking to them after we get done with this. I haven't run across them before, but a great platform and a collaboration platform in which there's voice capabilities and enhanced and there. So that would be the kind of target markets and target customers that we talk to. MSPs on there. That's a huge one again because you burgeon into that first box up there with the VoIP and UCaaS type services there. That's where things really start to get complex, and that's why there's a need for this integration for customers to automate. Globally, I've already mentioned it. We're all over the place. The U.S. is the most complex taxing regime. Brazil's there too. They're pretty complex as well. But as far as jurisdictions and the target of where your customers are at, it's going to be kind of U.S. and Canada centric. In most cases, we do have capabilities within the single engine to calculate. I believe they say in over 120 countries. It's actually more like 150 now. A lot of flat VAT, but there are pockets of the world that have different communications related taxes. If there was a slide within this presentation that kind of showcases how things work, it's this one. Sonar is the billing interface of record. That is your day-to-day mechanism. There's no real new twists or tasks to learn there. There's a lot of collaboration as we go through the onboarding process to make sure that your customer information's in there, charge amounts, everything's mapped appropriately within Sonar. They've got predefined drop downs already tied to our engine so that when you send those transactions through to our tax engine via the connector, which is that little button right in the middle, that's the integration that's done, we can then calculate all those applicable taxes, fees, surcharges for whatever you sold, whether it's a VoIP access charge, whether it's a headset, handset, services, internet, whatever it might be. We'll calculate everything and at the line item, push back what the taxes, fees, and surcharges are. So at the end of that calculation, they're going to be able to display and decorate the invoice with all the taxes compliantly positioned on there, as well as generate a series of output files within our engine that we can then utilize for the filing of your compliance returns as well. Mentioned it earlier, we pre-populate those required forms, file and remit, but everything's mapped to the appropriate form. So there's no overlap, there's no gaps, there's no, I didn't know this liability had to be on this form. It's very comprehensive and very transparent. Just lends itself to a great story again if ever there's an audit, and also for your reconciliation purposes to be able to go in there and pull down what you need when you need it. On that note, the communication side of the house and our compliance group, we take that data, prepare returns, file, remit. We can also do those registrations at the Department of Revenue level. So what the typical progression is would be a lot of folks will say, well, we're in a couple states, but they might have a physical presence there, but maybe they're not considering economic nexus, which is what auditors look at now. Where are your customers at? Where are you selling this to them? Where are they utilizing it? So we have all that information within there. And once it's within our engine and mapped appropriately, everything's calculated then so that you could see in black and white what your actual liabilities are and where those are at. If they translate to a form that should be filed, we can help out with the registrations in that jurisdiction if you're not already registered there, be it a state, a county, a local. In some cases, there might be a ballpark tax or a school tax that's across the street that has a different rate or a different calculation than literally right across the street. So those all matter, and those all need to get accounted for and positioned on the correct forms when they're filed against. And our system automates that, and it gives you that peace of mind to say, we can progress and scale and grow through this, whether it's customer-wise, whether it's a new state, whatever it is, to be able to kind of assist and take you off on that front there. So notice management, you might get some messages from jurisdictions saying, hey, what's going on here? We had a question with this form. Our team can handle those as well. And the audit support piece there is really the transparency that I talked about earlier. When you can provide a complete comprehensive story all the way through, those audit questions typically go away, because then they're actually to a point where they can utilize that information that's within the portal that you have access to justify and kind of position everything what they need for. This is a big one too. I've hit on a couple different ways, but not only are these communications taxes able to be accounted for here, but your sales taxes are as well. There's different ways people handle it, but at the end of the day, if these voice services are generating sales taxes as well, somebody's got to account for those. Whether you're comfortable doing the sales tax returns on your own, you need to account for these other incremental sales taxes over here, make sure they land on that form as well, so they're not getting two separate filings sent to the same jurisdiction with different numbers, because auditors lick their chops when they see that. That's just another reason for them to kind of come back and ask more questions. So we can handle those sales taxes as well. And a lot of people will just say, zip it up and button it up, take me out of the loop. This is what we need all the way through. So any of these things you'll see out there, E911, Florida Communication Service taxes, utility user taxes out in California, home rolls in Colorado, parishes in Louisiana. There's a myriad of them, and we have the ability to calculate and file for all those. All right. This is a powerful slide too, just kind of showcasing. I tell people all the time, there's a price and there's a cost to everything, and very rarely are they the same. When you kind of pen out what your time is worth and what your opportunity costs of going out and driving new business or retaining a customer, or whatever that might look like for you, the efficiencies and synergies that you gain by utilizing an automated solution that takes you out of the loop and gives you that peace of mind that things are being done correctly is tremendously beneficial. Now, this is a $300 million company, pretty big. But anecdotally and illustratively, it should provide you kind of a sense for the duties, responsibilities, get you thinking a little bit about what you do on a day-to-day basis to make sure that you're as above board as you think you can be doing this, whether it's researching rates, updating spreadsheets, filing returns, whatever that looks like. Kind of try and wrap your head around what that means to you and opportunity costs, and versus what it might cost to outsource a solution like this that takes that off your plate. So in closing here, and we'll kind of open it up to some questions if we have a little bit of time here. There's a lot of benefit to automating taxes. It could be, for some people, again, that peace of mind, or that I want to sleep at night. It could be a fear factor for some people that I talk to, that they just don't want to get dinged in an audit or have to go back and restart or reset or rip and replace an integration somewhere else. So it is one of the industry's most complete and scalable solutions out there. It has been for almost 30 years now. it's designed for compatibility. This is something that's open sourced, and that obviously Sonar has built in capabilities to integrate and automate that for you. It streamlines operations tremendously. As we talked about, you're alleviating a lot of manual processes within there, error-prone processes, multiple vendors, kind of questioning, what is going on within the whole tax compliance process, inherently leading to a reduced risk in penalties, interest, and audits. When you have a justifiable path and story to tell all the way through this compliance process, everything's above board. That leads right into the fact of less audits and more success and more time to go do other revenue generating activities. And lastly, you'll have this information at your disposal too. So reconciliation purposes, spot shotting, customer support, whatever you want, you'll have that within the portal where you can go in and easily manage and access all these pieces of data, your old filings. You'll have a lot of collaboration with our teams, with the compliance analysts, to make sure that you're in full training and understanding of every mechanism that's kind of happened along the way there. So with that as the backdrop for it and the backbone, it's a tremendous solution. You marry that with a trusted partner like Sonar. It's just invaluable for customers to be able to round out their entire billing and compliance process all in one place in a very complex tax regime. So that's kind of where I'll put a bow on it there. And thanks for bearing with us on the technical difficulties. Hopefully that was accessible, readable. And then any questions, right?
No, that was great. I think we rolled with that very effectively. Great presentation. Really appreciate an honest look at what is a very complex topic, and I think you helped to kind of demystify a good amount of that. So, to me, it's about showing how your tools can make tax compliance manageable. Like you said, in the landscape filled with telecom specific rules and rapid policy shifts, etc., it gets complicated really quick. And having an expert on your side, really, you want to talk about value. That's where that value comes out. And this isn't an automation that just saves time. For example, it reduces risk. Right. At the end of the day, that is priceless when it comes to having to comply with the regulatory landscape of today. So I think we're doing good for questions. I agree with the with the comment in the chat that taxes make me drink. That is definitely something that I think a lot of us can relate to. And so again, thank you so much, Brad, for Sonar customers that have taken advantage. The value, and this is really one of those things that yes, we've put in the work to make sure that you can set things natively, but largely once you've got all that figured out, it's a set it and forget it thing, and a lot of the magic happens behind the scenes. So yeah, thank you for giving a good view into what that looks like.
Very true. Thank you, Rick, and thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us.